Welcome to another video. In this one we're going to look at shadows and highlights. This is an important concept to grasp for photography and film as well, as it talks about a lot of different principles within how we can correct images or how we can overlay images or create alpha, a whole bunch of things. So this is a very big topic, and I'll try to tackle it in various ways because it touches on so much of Photoshop. Here's a basic example. So I have this graphic that is mostly white and black. Behind it I have just a pattern, a paisley pattern. If I go to my blending modes like we looked at in the last section, I can start selecting different modes of how my graphic interacts with the layer behind it. So there's a whole bunch of different options, and the quick key is Shift, plus, and minus to go through these. So if you want to have different results, just hit Shift, plus, and minus and we'll cycle through these. So let's just look at this graphic for a sec. At the normal state, you're going to see that we have a lot of black, so that would be my shadow, and here I have white, which is my highlights. But right here I have like a gray, so there's a bit more of a shadow on this white. Now if you watch when I cycle through my blending modes, so you can see that the graphic itself is still using the shadows within the white. So that means that Photoshop understands that these parts of the graphic should be treated differently. So now let's say I want to play with the shadows and highlights of this graphic. So that means I want to play with the blacks and the whites. This right here on the side of the face, this is white with a bit of black. So the technical way of speaking would be that this white has a certain shadow value, which uses black. So I'm going to go to Image Adjustment. I'm going to go to Levels. You're going to see now it brings up what is called a histogram. This is how your computer sees the details in the graphic. On the left here, these are my blacks. On the right, these are my whites. Here is my midtone. So if we're to look at this graphic, this right here, this section of black is all around this graphic. Right here, my midtones, as it's approaching white, you can see that right here in this corner, this would be the brightest white. So maybe up around here. Compared to the rest of this, gets a little grayer as we move along the face. So this right here are my midtones, which you can kind of think of as gray. So if I bring my midtones, let's see if I bring this cursor to this side. That means that I'm making my midtones have more black, more shadow. So now if I look at the blending options, you're going to see I get completely different results because my whites and my blacks have because my shadows and my highlights have different values. So let's look at that just in one more mode. Let's say I want to do the complete opposite. I don't want to have as much detail. I can bring my midtones all the way across. So that means I have like 100% white, and then this is 100% black. So now my shadow, I don't have very much shadows and highlights. My whites are white and my blacks are black. There's no grays. Sometimes you're going to want to do that because now if I look at different blending modes, I might get like a complete cutout of the mask without having it have the 3D effect. In some cases you might want to do that. Especially in video you do this a lot. So that's just a little bit about shadows and highlights.